Welcome to South Harmon.
What's good, everyone? Wednesday night AMA. I'm back from Florida. Unfortunately, Adam, when I landed
to the Midwest. How are you feeling to be back in the Midwest, buddy? You know,
I fucking hate it. I hate it.
it's nothing like home sweet home, right?
I'm gonna like my bed tonight, but other than that, they keep the weather. I saw white stuff as soon as I got off the plane. I was like,
"Did you?"
What?
That's normally on your way down to Florida, not on your way back. But you know, that's a different combo. So no, actually, what I was going to ask you, buddy, what's it like over there in Iowa? And you know, it's got to be super different than Florida at the moment right now, especially because we're dealing with right before this power outage here, snow. It's schizophrenic weather, Mike. It's like 70 degrees one day. When I was on the phone with you, it was 70 degrees, beautiful. Then the next day, it was 11 degrees. You know, today, like. My wife had a snow day yesterday. Like, what the hell is going on around here, you know?
Thankfully for me, I mean, it was in the 40s by the time I got home. But, yeah, there's still snow on the ground. You know, it's in its melting stages. I see in a couple days it's supposed to be 70. Like, what the hell is going on? Whatever. Just give me the Central Florida weather. That was fine. Like, I woke up one morning and it was like 50, and that was the worst that I saw.
50 was 50? Yeah. That sounds cold, but that sounds relative to here like amazing. Yeah.
Well, when I left last Wednesday, it was snowing as I was driving to the airport. I got to Orlando and it was 89 degrees. And Saturday I drove from Daytona over to the west side of Orlando, Winter Haven, where my grandparents live.
Yeah.
I took the top off the Corvette. And I drove with my hat backwards. As you can see, I have a fucking sunburn right there.
Shout out to the OG days of one of Nick's little videos he did. He could don't say the car's topless. Say the titties are out, man. So
the titties are out on the Corvette.
That's pretty awesome though to get take the top off the coupe. By the way, Corey's on to something early here. Etienne must not be back with the Red Bull yet. No Red Bull today, so this is a super grinded out day. Just regular, you know, Coca-Cola to get us through. But hey, gents, we got everybody in here, man. We got Matt Dennis. What's up, Matt? How's everything going up there? You still locked up in the third floor? We're worried about you.
Poor man.
Let me ask you. Speaking of Florida, and you know, coming out of Florida, no longer being in Florida, let's for Band-Aids off, man. Let's talk Jaylen Waddle. New digs, new jerseys. By the way, let me give a big shout out to Fanatics because our partner Certified Shit, you actually get jersey assurance. And Mike, if there's anybody out there that needs jersey assurance, you know it's myself. You may have seen in the merch tier. Shout out to patreon.com/South Harmon. One of the jerseys I just offered like a few days ago to winner. Dr. B. Harris was a Jaylen Waddle Dolphins. But the good news is if you're within that, I think it's 90 or 120 days, which I'm well within. Listen, we're going to be getting our new Jaylen Waddle jersey on them. So make sure you keep that in mind. Jersey assurance is something that our partner Certified Shit takes care of, man. One of the rare W's for me, which is just honestly just to get back to even, right?
Speaking of Florida, you know, down there visiting my dad, big Dolphins fan, and when you show up to his house, he has his jerseys on his dining room table, right, like on the chair.
Good for him. That's
awesome. It's like a fucking graveyard. Okay,
there's a Tua jersey.
That's crazy. There's a Tyreek Hill jersey. There's a Jaylen Waddle jersey. It's Dad could use some jersey assurance, being a Dolphins fan, apparently.
That poor guy, poor soul.
Don't worry.
I was actually going to say, well, let's get into Jaylen Waddle quickly though. Well, not quickly. Let's get into Jaylen Waddle for the fantasy and the dynasty. Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I bought him a new one while I was down there. I'm gonna stick to classics. All right, I got him a Mark Duper jersey.
No, dude, good. Yeah. And actually, that's a very it's a smart play for sure. Speaking of smart plays, Dynasty Jake, listen, you put a super chat out there, you get to say whatever you want. You get to ask a question, whatever you know. It's basically like, listen, you guys change whatever's happening. Because there's money on the screen, and y'all heard. Hey, Mike, I was actually going to ask you on that topic. So, before we get into Jaylen Waddle, do you think right now for Miami, I mean, obviously there's Devon Etienne, but, I mean, is there anybody even jersey worthy on the skill players for us right now, honestly?
No.
No Ollie Gordon, back on the video game cover type deal? No?
No, you're good, man. I
was
a Dolphins fan. I'm not purchasing the current Dolphins at all.
I was going to ask because, Mike, we do have a new quarterback in town, but we'll get to that in a minute. Jaylen Waddle, Mike, what were your thoughts? I guess let's just talk about it from this standpoint. The Dolphins situation, as your father's very well aware of, is changing.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts kind of for him if he was going to be there for at least the start of the year versus now in his new digs in Denver, Mile High?
I think we were worried about any Dolphins weapons with Malik Willis in town. Not that Malik's a bad quarterback, but it's definitely different than Tua or whatever the hell else they were trotting out when Tua was injured back there, right? Those guys are going to stand in the pocket.
Changed. Tua and whatever the hell else. Yikes.
Well, they were going to stand in the pocket and they were going to play within McDaniel's system and be that point guard and get the ball out quick, a lot of RPOs. You had high volume targets for Etienne. You had a lot of dump offs, and now you get a hyper athletic quarterback back there who, he's played well when he's filled in for Jordan Love, but he played really well, and we like him for fantasy because he uses his feet and he wants to run with the football. And
sure,
while he may only throw for 200 yards in a game, he's going to give you 50 or 60 and maybe a touchdown on the ground. Great for fantasy. Not great if you're a pass catching weapon for the Miami Dolphins, who just lost, McDaniel's system, and now we don't really know what this is going to entail as far as this offense going. And now everybody's like down on weapons anyway. So I would say if Waddle had stayed, you would have been more down on him than you would have been, this time last year. And he's got his own concerns with health. I did see somebody point out he's only missed 5 games in his career or whatever the hell it is.
He's got that T. Higgins plus syndrome where it's they may not count as full missed games, but we know what's really going on here, man. This ain't 4 quarters,
How many second, third, and fourth quarters has he missed?
Well, Mike, let me give you he kind of had that thing that LeBron had going for a while. You give him, $1, give you back 3 quarters back in the – if you know, for LeBron.
That's harsh. That's harsh, bro.
Had to bring that up, man. Listen, it's okay, and it's all right to admit it. But here's the thing for Waddle. Actually, as you're saying that real quick, I just want to pass it back to you. But it's funny how we were kind of I want to say I was not necessarily in this majority, but people were basically like, listen, as soon as Tyreek Hill's finally gone, and he's ready to pass the reins to Waddle, it's going to be his time to feast in Miami. Well, it wasn't going to be, and we never got to see it. I guess all that said, though, Mike, keep going. Talk to us, man. Relative to not just any situation, what about this Denver situation?
Upgrade, quarterback upgrade, offense upgrade. He got out of Miami, went to a better situation. Now, the only real question mark is how much of the number one duties are split between him and Courtland Sutton, because Courtland Sutton's a good number one in his own right.
Yeah, I mean, he's not Tyreek in his prime, right? But I think the thing is, Courtland Sutton is a very different receiver than him, but he's somebody that's going to command a lot of targets. So don't sleep on that for sure with you.
I think it's very good. It's going to make it very interesting for Dynasty because it was an upgraded situation for Waddle. The Sutton questions are going to remain, and people will take sides on either one of those. I would imagine Sutton's probably going to be the value play out of the two of them, which would make me more inclined to want to see about inquiring about obtaining Courtland Sutton onto my Dynasty teams more than Jaylen Waddle, because I feel like he's not going to be a steamed up.
One's going one way, one's going the other way.
Exactly.
Courtland Sutton's an afterthought. Yeah.
If I got Waddle shares on my team, it's good that this happened because now he's more attractive to people. So maybe I can shop him and see what kind of deals are out there. Speaking of Mike,
he's up 14 spots already. This is pretty damn news. He's at right now wide receiver 22. He's right back there where he was, man. T. Higgins. He's over Brian Thomas Jr., Rashee Rice, Devonta Smith. He's right behind T. Higgins, Marv, Mekhi Lemon, Carnell. I mean, he's in the tier where it's like you put. I think he's very respected at this point, and if he continues to go up, Mike, I'm not going to say he can't take the number one role and thrive. I don't want to say he can't, but he better, because we're getting to that point with his dynasty value quickly. I didn't expect it to kind of recoup this fast, to be honest.
I think he's kind of at a point with a generic first and second where if somebody offered that, I'm like, more times than not, I'm probably going to consider it. Yeah. And certain teams, I may decline that or may try to milk more out of it, Adam. But
sure,
you hit on a good point that he's He's already ascended. If he goes up a little bit too much more, and we're getting to a first, second plus, and somebody's throwing me in some toss-in players that I like or whatever it is, then it's like, all right, it's like, good luck. And what's Cortland Sutton's price? Let me buy back into this offense in the receiving game, but just, hedge my bet quite a bit on the other side.
Shout out to Fizz. Listen, Fizz, I don't have a Fields Chiefs jersey for you. Honestly, that's a good thing, I think. But I got something for you here in a little bit, so don't go anywhere. Stay tuned, if you will. Mike, here's my big question, actually, with this, right? As I'm just this kind of just came to me, and it's a good talking point. It's if you just want to get super into the Waddle conversation, we can still have it. But to me, this is the big thing, right? You talked about it first in a second. I think here's the truth of the way we evaluate or just think about this and where he's kind of getting to. It's like, Mike, do we think for him? This is a similar conversation I had with Eric last week about Kenneth Walker, but where is Jaylen Waddle basically at 22, wide receiver 22, right? He's kind of in this cluster of guys that we know have the upside, the talent, the pedigree. The Dynasty gamers believe in the profile. But is he going to give you the production, right? Is he going to give you the difference-making production? Because you're kind of just priced just outside of it, right? And rightfully so. But you talked about Cortland Sutton. There's all kinds of other options you might be able to go if that person is not going to take that next step into the top, probably 12, 15. Obviously depends on warp and your league scoring. But a lot of times if you're not in that, pushing to that elite tier, and this year even, honestly, you could have been wide receiver 12 or 15, and it really wasn't that big of a difference relative to the other guys. So the big question I have is, do we think that, let's even say 22 is appropriately valued for now? Do we think he actually can, in this offense, in this situation, have this newfound life, so to speak, and become in the conversation with like Nico Collins and, Chris Olave or these guys as far as top, basic wide receiver one as far as production goes? Because this is the thing. Jaylen Waddle, I talked about this. It's funny because he has moved teams. The situation's totally different. But I was like, basically by the time Tyreek is out of the way, which he is, and it's not a problem, it's not even the conversation, Jaylen Waddle's going to be 27. And 27 is the magic number for what have you done for me now?
Yeah. The one point that you made, and I'm glad you hit on it, was even if he has, which by all accounts would be a fantastic season out of him, if you're like, man, he finished wide receiver 11 this year. That's pretty good. That's a good season. Like, I don't think he has.
Listen, if he finished wide receiver 11, I think everybody, including the Waddle truthers, would be happy, no?
Yeah, I don't think anybody is going like, wow, this is a real threat to be a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy, right? Like nobody's really projecting this.
Well,
okay?
and is that something we should be a little more realistically open to, or no? Do you think? I guess the big question.
I would be more realistically open to. There's a better chance of me
living in Florida.
Stripping a Vegas club, like my own Magic Mike.
Oh, buddy. I mean, there's a way better chance of that for sure. I would bet on that easily over this Waddle top 5. But I mean, top 5 is lofty. I will say this year, obviously, we saw that receiver like 8-9 range to 16 kind of just not give you anything different to the guys near that. There's also a case where we've seen in years past where wide receiver 11 could be very meaningful in warp. So I don't want to just give it only, the credence of I'm with you. I don't think top 5 is realistic to bet on. I'm not saying it can't happen, but to me it's very, very, very slim. Mike going to that level type of slim,
Yeah. You talked about it with last year. There was 0.4 warp difference between wide receiver 12 and 24. in just your run-of-the-mill leagues, which isn't a whole hell of a lot. That is a very narrow gap. Yep. Like sometimes you can find weeks with free agents who give you 0.4 warp. You know what I mean? Just a waiver wire guy I picked up.
I'm not going to say I can give you 0.4 in warp, but I can give you close, It's,
right. Historically, though, that's the beauty of Cooper's warp tool that he has. If you look at it back to 2000, if you use it back to 2019 and you look at it, between 12 and 24, 0.7. So you get a little bit. Last year was a down year for the wide receiver in that range. Historically, though, it's still not a crazy difference, right? 0.7 warp difference between being a wide receiver 12 or a wide receiver 24. And I think even on a good season, you're looking at him somewhere maybe 10 to that wide receiver 2 range anyways, and we'd be like, that was a good season from him. I just think his cost might be gassed up a little bit too much already. And Adam, you mentioned earlier, I think it's probably still going to get juiced up just a little bit more here as we keep going in the offseason.
I do agree. I will say this. It's kind of like we're in this point, though, for I think relative to the receivers, right? You're getting to a tier where it's, listen, there's going to be a lot of hype also for Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, the guys in this range that you're kind of, right in the neighborhood of. But I do think Waddle will, even if he doesn't surpass, a handful of these guys, I think his value overall relative to, Superflex is going to keep going up because, and I guess this is a ancillary point, but I think this is going to, I'm curious to see what it does for Bo Nix's stock, but I do think it's going to be a little more of like, listen, Bo Nix has had a great career so far. Obviously, he's delivered more than anybody, I think, realistically is expected. But, with him in the situation he's coming off of, and you get Jaylen Waddle there, I think expectations obviously do rise. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of relates to him. I guess here's my last thought on this, Mike. I'm thinking about guys that had change of scenery or stayed in the same scenario, but started to really get either forgot about. Jaylen Waddle has, I think, at times last year for sure been forgot about, or kind of discounted. And the two names that come to mind, now there's obviously plenty of names that can go downward, but the two names that come to mind for me are going to be Chris Olave, obviously, right? Staying in the same situation and just, basically similar to Waddle, right? Staying healthy the whole time and staying out of the concussions. He gives you that back-end wide receiver 1. And I also think, I don't think this is the likely scenario, but Mike, you talked about, does he have top 5 in the range? I think you look at a guy like George Pickens who changed scenery. I mean, you're looking at, him with CeeDee Lamb. Nobody's thinking that fucking George Pickens is going to be a top 5 receiver. And you're like, damn, the dude really can ball, especially when he's with a quarterback that can kind of, support him. And not just support him, he supports fantasy greatness. So I think those are kind of like, you got to be careful. They're not the same scenario, right? But those are at least kind of examples in recent memory where you can think of, a guy kind of returning to his old form that we thought he could be, and also a guy going to a new situation like we knew he was good, we liked him, but damn, I know he had that in him. And I'm not saying that Jaylen Waddle's George Pickens. I don't think he has that same dog in him. You'd be mad at me if you want, but I do like Jaylen Waddle. But I think, Mike, here's my thing: if he gets to the point where he's ahead of the Carnell Tates of the world, the Romeo Doubs of the world, the Chris Olaves of the world, I'm going to be mad I don't have more shares, buddy, because I don't have a lot. But that's going to be a very good selling point. I will say this, too. Jay, you put it up here. Waddle worth a first plus. I think Mike mentioned it. Like, if I can get a first and a second out of him, he's probably in favor of moving on from him. I'm not advocating for sending a first and a second at all. I think it's more we would sell if we can get that from him, especially while the hype is here. Mike, let me ask you, would you send a first of your own? Would you give up your flexibility for a guy like Jaylen Waddle right now? Is he in that scenario?
I think as the class kind of shakes out a little bit more, like you could be more comfortable with it, especially if you're on a competing team or like a best ball contender where you're like, is that 109 really
best ball contender? I'm with you because of format, because of the way the game. Yeah, definitely.
Is that 109 really going to contribute to me actually winning this year, or would a Jaylen Waddle contribute a hell of a lot more to that? And it's probably going to be Waddle in that case.
And I think it's funny because when you say that, in lineup, I still have my hesitations, my reservations, but even there, I might dabble. Here's my thing. I want to make sure I'm saying this and putting this out there. I do think, Mike, part of the reason I'm intrigued with that is because I think that Waddle's had this closet fan base that's been waiting. And I actually think, regardless of if the production matters or not, Mike, I think there's going to be that early season opportunity where people are they got picks burning holes in their pockets, right? And they want to go buy players. I think there's, no matter really what he gets to, unless he starts getting to the top 15, I think there's probably a boom in value coming for him in that September-October range, which, Mike, listen, I'll be honest, that's a little 4D, but I'm being honest, that's probably somebody that I don't have a lot of shares of. I will see if I can get, into some bigger deals. I'm not going to go chasing him, but I do think that there's some opportunity for him early in the year to get a boost in value. And that's the other thing. You don't have to get production. if you realize, I'm trying to get off of the value in the hype train for Jaylen Waddle when he gets to Denver.
I think I'm just gonna stick with shopping at the discount store, right?
I'm gonna stay in that store for sure, absolutely.
I pulled up some lab trades, and you kind of see what
from
the
Waddle
or
nope. Cheaper options.
Another guy, cheaper option with probably same range, and you can maybe argue even a better range of outcomes. Freshly traded this offseason, DJ Moore to the Bills with Josh Allen.
Sure.
He doesn't have a Cortland Sutton for a competition, right? Like he almost steps in default as the number one option. They're not that far off in age range. They're not that far off in truthers. Granted, DJ Moore is a little bit older, and we've had a couple stinky seasons on his resume here lately. Not fantastic ones, but I mean, he's only valued. You're seeing deals, like real deals for DJ Moore going down for 2 seconds. Like do I have to send the first for Jaylen Waddle, or who's got DJ Moore, man? Does 209 and 206 get it done? Sign me up.
Well, okay, 209 and 206 in this class get it done. Listen, I think I'm all aboard. I'll jump off the plank for that, let alone let me get DJ Moore.
Nope, I got one here for you.
Gotcha.
March 14th, 211, 209 for DJ Moore.
Well, I will say there's always somebody out there, but 209 and 211 would be amazing.
Even worse, DJ Moore for 210 and the 305.
Now, what I was going to say, it's funny, though, that you brought these up because they're worse than I imagined, but I kind of have – this is the take that I'm kind of curious for you, how you evaluate this when thinking about it. DJ Moore, right? I think the thing with him and Waddle, you make a very good case for, and I'm not here to argue. I actually really do like DJ Moore going to Buffalo, and I have some shares where I've been waiting for some good news to come, and this is kind of the good reason for me to hold, I think, at the moment, especially given that market. Sheesh. It's a late second and a third. I mean, come on, stop it. Now, this is the thing about DJ Moore, though. Like he's gotten to this point where, because of his especially last year in Chicago, but the year prior even, people, man, the fickle game of Dynasty and how people are really – like I think the majority of the Dynasty community is off this player. So basically, here's the two – altering universes here, the Florida and the Iowa or Ohio, if you will, right? The differences. Now, you could stay in the Midwest. You got through the bad times. You just plan to stay in your home, get through it, be great. Cost of living's good, all that. And DJ Moore, if he gives you production and has a bounce back as far as production early, you will definitely see people, I think, have no choice but to buy into maybe trading for him. But Mike, the flip side, I think, with him is the danger is I think Jaylen Waddle could have a slow start in Denver. I'm not saying his price won't dip, but I think people are, like we talked about, they just have this affinity for their Jaylen Waddle love. If DJ Moore doesn't start off, in a decent way, I think in the first few weeks, I mean, you already see people basically selling him for nothing. I mean, he's being treated like Amari Cooper at this point when, he still had a couple good years left in him. So, I guess that's the difference. I'm not saying it's a right or wrong thing. I think that's just something to evaluate and understand about the assets. They're very different in the way that one's very rigid and the other one is a little more forgiving as far as what production looks like.
And I agree with you with the Waddle thing. It'll probably be, especially early on in the season, a lot more insulated as far as how people feel about him. But let's not forget, after this season's up, he will be 28 years old plus, and he will be, 28 and a half by the time 2027 rolls around. And at that point, all fucking bets are off. It's like, you've hit that age cliff for wide receivers. All right, you haven't fucking done it yet. We good.
I think that's a very good point too. And I think that's another thing to keep in mind, right? I like to talk about value insulation and just the way that people will probably handle assets. Obviously, there's plenty of cases where we're dead wrong on that. Me in particular, but Mike, I think what you just mentioned is this. I think for Waddle, for me, the value insulation is appealing. The thing you have to remember though is this is it'll be fluid probably for the first month or so, but even for people that have a affinity for players, eventually if they're not producing, especially like you mentioned going towards that 27-28 season, it's what have you done for me, not just lately, but right this moment. I think he's probably going to be, because of the change of scenery, obviously the situation at QB, all that, I think he's going to get a little bit of baked in delayed gratification. But I do think this is something to keep in mind. And no one likes to talk about this, but if you have a asset that's trending down and you're talking about a guy like Jaylen Waddle where you're getting to look at DJ Moore, Mike. I mean, I don't know that it's going to be similar, but DJ Moore, say whatever you want. He's basically 29 he's going to be, but he's actually 28 right now. So you look at what he's being traded for right now and how people kind of have very much cast him off. You could see a scenario where if you don't move Jaylen Waddle next season and he's trending down, even though you feel like you're going to sell at a loss, it's got a lot further to go down. So I think that's a very good point, man.
DJ Moore had a bad year last year, and he still only finished 0.7 off of Jaylen Waddle, who didn't have to contend with Tyreek Hill for a majority of the season, which is a little wild in its own right. Like, how long do we keep the Jaylen Waddle trutherism up before you go?
What you're acting like? Listen, here's the thing. I'll be honest. I've not been. I do like his game, and I do think he's very talented. But I've just not been. It's not been my cup of tea. But I will tell you that I've basically never had a dry moment or a dull moment as far as that goes. People are very high on Jaylen Waddle, and I think Mike, there's a lot of change of scenery lately. Coming off last week, Mike, here's my thing that Fizz talked about this. What was your thoughts on, obviously, listen, we know what happened this last year, Justin Fields. I think, unfortunately, going to the Jets in that scenario was not going to be good for him. And let's also call it what it is. He had a couple good moments, but overall it was pretty fucking bad as far as performance goes. He's now out of the starting quarterback mix. And, Mike, what do we make of this going to KC for him right now?
I like it for him. I like it for the Chiefs in general, right? It's an insurance policy where Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to get rushed back in case he's not entirely ready, and they're not going to be completely screwed. And for fantasy purposes, I said it when he got traded over there, I was like, he becomes a pretty good target, especially if you can get him for like a third or something like that, just a toss in.
Yeah.
Because you think about it.
I think he's definitely in that range too, Mike. Yeah.
If Patrick Mahomes is not ready to start week 1, and if he's, may not be back till week 3 or week 4 or whatever, Justin Fields leading the Chiefs offense under Andy Reid with what he can do mobility wise.
Remember that start in Pittsburgh, right? I mean,
which is by far and away going to be the best talent that's ever been around Justin Fields in his entire career up to this point.
Garrett Wilson's shambles.
I'm putting myself in start-sit decisions, right, for week 1 and 2. And just hypothetically, if this happens, legitimately, how many actual quarterbacks would you roll into week 1 or 2? And I don't really care how deep you are, where you go like, I can't find a way to wedge Justin Fields in my Superflex spot like for these 2 weeks because I'm going to want to.
He definitely in my weekly rankings will go high. I just want to make sure there's probably a good 12, but I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, I'm with you. He would be somebody on my teams, especially where I don't have an elite, Superflex option, Mike. I mean, I'm going to take I'm going to kind of, be willing to die with the grenade going off on me, but I'm willing to see if he can go off. I think in the offense, and it'll be interesting to see with Andy Reid, Mike, I think for him, this is the reality, though. He's going to go into this tier where now starting is going to be a situational thing. And let me ask you this. This is kind of weird, but there's been, I don't know how serious it is, but there's been some buzz. I'm like, oh, my God, the K9, Kenneth Walker, the third, whatever you call it, vulture. I mean, why does this? Why do we have to talk about this, man? I guess it just drives me. It's wild.
Just pouring a little.
You get Kenneth Walker to a new landing spot that everybody likes for like less than a week, and it's like, nah, we can't be happy,
Can't be happy, but it'd be in the short term, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, even if it was. I mean,
I wouldn't be worried about it at all. These guys are both going to probably be on an offense if Fields is starting for a short time while Mahomes is getting back healthy. I mean, this is going to be an offense that probably, even with Fields at the helm, will be scoring points and be efficient. So, I'm okay with some vulture touchdowns because guess what? It's not Charbonnet. I mean, it's not someone taking half the fucking running back snaps, or maybe I will be that. And then
I like it for Justin. He finally gets with an organization that knows what the fuck they're doing and has a real chance to redeem himself. Kind of wait in the wings. He can go the Malik Willis route.
Well, I was going to say, it feels a little late for the Malik Willis route because Malik didn't really get his shot, and it feels like Fields has gotten a shot. But I'm with you, though, on we've seen plenty of Super Bowl, Super Bowl champ Sam Darnold, man. We've seen plenty of these guys that get a chance, and I think it's definitely important for those players that are trying to develop and obviously have a lot of things to work out. At the quarterback position, Mike, get yourself in an organization where you can learn from one of the best and you have some of the best coaches around you. There's a lot of good players, I think, that he can kind of learn from. Hopefully, for him, it's like, hey, you're a backup here, right? You gel well, and, you just be willing to take this role and see what the opportunity comes later. But I think for him, Mike, he's in the third range. I think for me, he's basically going to get to the point in dynasty costs where, listen, if you didn't sell or if you wanted to or you bought, sunk cost fallacy. I think at this range for me, if he's in the third or below, Mike, I'm just going to put him as, especially in lineup, as my any quarterback on a 53, and just you can. There's no chance I'm moving him for that price. Just even if he doesn't start for 2 seasons, let's say year 3, he's out there. I'd rather have that than a third on any one of these classes. So that's kind of where I'm at with him.
It's crazy for him too, because I think about where he's been and all the stops that he's had, and he's literally had 3 of the worst fucking organizations as far as quarterback development has gone in modern history. Now, your Cleveland Browns are going to be on this list too, but the Bears, up until Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams got together, they have just gone through them. And this goes back to, Jesus Christ, they won a Super Bowl in 85 season. And they couldn't ever figure out quarterback since then. The Jets, oh my God, the list of bodies that the Jets have had is
the Steelers.
Crazy.
The Steelers. What was crazy was
the Steelers
he
had
actually
Ben
played
Roethlisberger run. That was
right.
it.
Well, yeah, and I guess to be honest, I think you have Tomlin a little to blame for that, right? Like basically, Tomlin wasn't going to let that team ever get below 8 wins or 9 wins. So,
right.
They go the Kenny Pickett route, which we don't have to relive that. But Mike, I guess this is not super exciting news, but I do think there is some intriguing backup upside. Basically, is really all it is. Mike, let me ask you: are there any of these free agent moves or trades that you wanted to get to that we talked about last week, or are there some other things you want to discuss moving into maybe rookies? Like I got some stuff coming, been working on. Some stuff that's going to be pretty cool, I think, here in the next couple of weeks. Not quite ready for this week, but ways that we can kind of use some of the tools we have, as well as a little bit further graphics. And Mike, I think what I'm curious for you is it are there players you want to talk about, or do you want to go more the rookie route here?
No, there was one for my Eagles that I wanted to talk about and just dabble on. Because I did see it get brought up in the Discord while I was on vacation. I chimed in a little bit, but Hollywood Brown signing with the Eagles on a 1-year, $10 million deal.
I can tell you, Hollywood did not earn any Hollywood pictures. So
I didn't think so. I didn't think so.
We can talk without the image,
Maybe not for fantasy purposes, and you're not going to rush out and try to get some Hollywood Brown out of it. But what I thought was just kind of the sneaky thing is we all thought AJ Brown was going to get traded, and then we haven't heard anything on this. And are they keeping him? Are they not? One of the things floated out there, and Howie is very, very good with cap and numbers and knowing how to work them, is if they wait until after June 1st to trade him, they save a metric fuck ton of money against their cap, which they're going to need because, listen, we just
hold on, run that back. Sorry,
if they wait,
the comments,
If they wait until after June 1st to trade AJ Brown, they save a metric fuck ton against the cap.
Yep.
Which they need because they have a lot of young superstar defensive players that they're trying to lock up to long-term deals. We just watched Jordan Davis get a contract. We're going to be talking about, Cooper DeJean's going to be coming up in a couple of years. Quinyon Mitchell's going to be coming up. They don't like to lose their homegrown talent.
No, but also what's in it? I think especially when you think about that in the cap, what's also in it for them to trade it? I'm sure they did their due diligence, right? But what's in it for them to trade him now? He's probably going to get more intriguing, and the buzz will probably get a little bit higher as we're getting closer to the season, much like we'll see in Dynasty. Obviously, I think the big thing, though, was if they could get into the draft, which,
get another pick.
They get this. The greasy salesman, I'm sure, was all over the place here. He just
sure he's trying.
He didn't come to a deal, which means it didn't happen. But so Hollywood Brown, Mike, I think for me in Dynasty Fantasy, I've been cool, honestly, for a little while now, but I'm good here. Best ball, and that's it for me, honestly, at this point.
I would say it's just a name to monitor, one on the A.J. Brown trade front, because it kind of just another signal point that, listen, we understand after we trade A.J., we still have to fill our number 2 option. And I think I talked about it with Fizz.
But you don't think him – let me ask you, do you view that as a actual number 2 fill-in? I'm not necessarily that high on him being a number 2 receiver. I mean, I'm not saying he can't be, but he's not someone I want as my number 2 receiver any longer, I guess I should say.
Like I told Eric, like who the fuck else is going to be their choice as a number 2 if they move A.J. Brown? Britton Covey?
Well, hopefully they they make some calls or do something in the draft. I'm not sure, but listen, it wasn't that many years ago that A.J. Brown they traded for him in the draft. So you never know.
Yeah.
Right?
But Hollywood, I think, could be a sneaky, if you're just looking at Dynasty, a real cheap guy who may be the number 2 on that team. And it's kind of signaling that if they do end up moving on from A.J. Brown, which I think was just another signal point for, hey, we're kind of waiting until this cap number doesn't kick us in the nuts so hard, and then we're going to move him. And if you do it in June or you do it in July, there's still plenty of teams that are going to be interested in acquiring the services of A.J. Brown. And they're just going to pivot towards 27 draft capital, which by all accounts is a much deeper, better draft, top to bottom, as far as talent up and down the board. So
yeah,
okay, like I can see kind of the wheel spinning for Howie, but for dynasty purpose for us, it's like, it's not something just to completely write off. I'm not saying I'm going actively acquiring them, but hey, what's it going to take for me to get Hollywood out here? Like, what do you want for him?
Can I tell you the truth? You're going to start seeing a little bit soon here, right? You'll start seeing those garage sales, buddy. You can have them. We don't even need to. You can have them. Best ball, I think for me, I'm not going to go out and probably acquire much, but I'm not moving him for dirt in best ball lineup. He's roster clogger in my opinion. Now, it doesn't mean that he can't have a window where he's a wide receiver 2 and maybe gives you some decent production, but how often are you going to feel like starting him? And also, we've seen for players that are not necessarily for players that I think we have much more upside than Hollywood, where it's like, all right, we think this situation is going to be good, and then it goes away pretty quickly. So I would just that's where I'm at. Best ball, cool lineup. I think I'm probably just Hollywood's had a decent little run, not the greatest, and that's probably where I would just prefer to leave it.
Speaking of his new teammate, though, it does make Devonta Smith a hell of a lot more appealing, right? Like just trying to read the tea leaves on it.
I was gonna go there.
Devonta Smith being the number 1 option now. If A.J. Brown does get moved here in the next couple months, all of a sudden it's like we just talked about Jaylen Waddle. It's like there's no way in fuck I would rank Jaylen Waddle above Devonta Smith if this were to happen.
Well, the good news is you will be already. Well, let me say that I don't want to act like that. I think that's kind of how it always goes. Where guys don't change teams. Devonta Smith, for whatever reason, I feel like, especially the last couple years, I feel like maybe 2024 season, he wasn't like discounted. He was actually kind of in that desirable tier, not necessarily elite, but desirable. And now I'm not saying he's in a bad range, but Mikey's it's him, J-Mo, Antoine Pierce, which that thing is crazy. And Michael Wilson's only, 7-8 spots off. So I guess here's my thing with Devonta. I'm with you there. I actually was kind of curious if A.J. Brown got moved, which he has not yet, but if that ends up being the case, if he gets a bump. I think right now, without that actually happening, you kind of see him being penciled in here. Mike, because actually that's what I was going to go to is just some of the rising assets at the moment and kind of get your overall feel on them, because we have had a lot of change the last couple weeks in particular with moving parts and what that does for certain players. Mike, I'm curious here for you. Romeo Doubs, are you buying in or no?
No, not really. Like, he's okay. He's fine. It's whatever.
That jersey doesn't hype you up. That Drake May connection doesn't give you a little bit of,
Somehow it looks worse, to be honest. Like the 87 for the Pats looks worse.
Maybe he goes with a new number. He's got new change of scenery.
Something cool like 4 or something.
Well, here's my question to you with this, right? Because you talked about it, I felt like it was a good transition, like the Hollywood thing, right? Where, they're not the same. To me, not really even close. But I think the big thing is that, right, we're talking about Romeo Doubs. I think he's had some moments, and we've seen probably him do better, I think, and more consistent than some people would give him credit for. But now it's like, okay, we go to a whole new ball game here, right? The wide receiver, pandemonium or lack thereof as far as, who they want as their target in Green Bay and who's going to get the volume. Now you go to New England where, sheesh, you talk about the available targets and all that, and having a guy like Drake May. Those things are certainly desirable. I guess now it's really becomes, does the talent end up being closer to what the money says, and what does that look like as far as fantasy goes? What are your takes on him if he can hold on? Let's just live in the world where he could hold on to the wide receiver 1 role this year in New England. I'm not saying long term or anything crazy, but if that's the case, what do you think he could actually do this season for the Pats?
He's probably appropriately valued if he can dodge all the bullets left in the chamber.
We still have obviously the draft is massive, and New England has all kinds of opportunity, whether trade or draft a player there.
And that's a team that's long rumored to be interested in reuniting A.J. Brown with Mike Vrabel. So
sure,
you got that bullet to dodge yet still.
And the Pats have, because of their financial flexibility, a lot of different options and ways they could go. So I'm not trying to sit here and act and pretend like he's guaranteed locked up wide receiver 1, but here's where I'm at. I think he's getting to the point where, Mike, I'm not like super into trying to buy. But at the moment, like, let's say he kind of stayed in this range, I don't necessarily hate it, right? Like him and Parker Washington, I probably prefer, honestly, Doubs. There's a lot of players in this range that I would still would take Doubs ahead of other ones, but that kind of goes without saying. There's other players that I think are more discounted, like, we could get to older, crusty players that should not be below him, but that will change later on. So I think he's probably, at the moment, I'm okay with his value. I'm just kind of curious to see if it continues to balloon, and if it does, I'm probably out, especially if he gets to the top. Like, if he gets close to wide receiver 32 range, I'm no thank you, man. That's where we're get to, because that's some other players we should discuss. Mike, with all this change, right? Wandale Robinson, what about him?
Same kind of fucking thing, I guess, really, for me. Like, it's a team also rumored to be highly interested in adding a wide receiver weapon in the draft, and he's kind of pigeonholed into the slot role. Is it that much better than what we saw with the Giants? Probably not. I think it's just where we steam up guys because it's like, ooh, new opportunity here. If he were to dodge all the bullets.
If I can't get Mike to get excited for, potential number 1s for May and for Cam, I mean, we it ain't happening, right? I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's over. It's over.
You got to give me better potential number 1s. That's just more exciting.
The one thing is that they did, say what you will, this wide receiver market is wild, man. Especially when you compare to other positions. It's those two guys got a fucking healthy little chunk of change, buddy. It's no little chunk of change. I mean, they got some good contracts.
The Eagles just paid Hollywood Brown, for fuck's sake, $10 million a year. So apparently, if you just catch footballs at the wide receiver position, you're going to get money.
Well, sure. There's
why be a running back?
But there are levels to this
receiver?
Shit, right? As Meek would tell you. I mean, Mike, I just never thought I would live in the world where Romeo Doubs is, a $70 million contract wide receiver. It's and potential wide receiver 1. I think Wandale, to me, Mike, is similar. If maybe more targets to come his way, but he's always been a guy that's got a sneakily high amount of targets. So to me, I think if there's a lot of bump in value, it's just this chasing excitement. And I think that's one thing I wanted to talk about in general right now is if you know, okay? If you've been in the streets, sometimes it really gets dull. It gets boring. And so when sometimes these player movements happen, say whatever you want about Wandale. Obviously, you make your call and do what you will. But this may be one of the last times you get a chance to sell him in this range. Not just him, but all these players where there is a lot of interest and peak, and just consider that this might be one of the last chances you have to move on from players that do get this type of buzz at the moment. I'm not saying you have to do it or it's always going to be right, but I think when you look at the lifespan of their type of career, you're probably at obviously a very big pivoting point where, okay, yeah, Romeo Doubs takes over as the wide receiver 1 and he becomes like a wide receiver 2. Sure, you'll end up being like, why would I ever move him? But if he doesn't thrive right away, and if it doesn't become that, you're probably looking at the value never really reaching this level again, where you're talking during rookie season, right? You're talking during rookie season being a wide receiver 3, back end wide receiver 2 conversation as far as trading, which is, it's not anything to be taken lightly, man.
I'm young enough to remember Gabe Davis getting a pretty healthy free agency contract. Just
well, at least that's not. I'm with you. At least though, Gabe Davis had the whole crazy playoff, and let's talk your boy. Let's talk Malik Willis. All right, let's talk the Dolphins, and let's talk Pops, man. So what are your thoughts on Malik Willis going to Miami? Do you think? Let me ask you this: do you think he's had enough development and he's shown some promise where, obviously, the situation is going to be dicey, right? But do you think he can actually navigate that situation well, and not just for fantasy, but actually, show some promise as far as being a legitimate franchise quarterback in this league?
Maybe not legitimate franchise quarterback as far as NFL success goes, right?
Okay.
Like I think that is a pretty steep uphill climb that he's going to have to make. I think for fantasy, though, he could be very, very good for you on the cheap, right? You're talking about an organization that is in full-on rebuild mode. I mean, while they're trading away all of his weapons left and right and getting rid of everybody, you're talking about a team that is going to be going to be trailing. Malik's going to have to play catch-up mode quite a bit, which means high-volume pass attempts to go along with the fact that he's also going to run the football quite a bit.
That's the thing I think you just hit on too. Is so don't let that. They may be trailing, but again, think about with scrambling style quarterbacks, right? This I think is one of the little minute points that sometimes gets missed. It's like, well, they're not going to be in a position to run. Well, I mean, it's any given Sunday, number one. But even if I would agree for the most part, when they're trailing and he's having to throw, what's going to happen? You got the line's going to start getting more pressure, right? They're going to start knowing they're throwing. They're going to start bringing more pressure, which is going to do what? Trying to scramble to make a play happen, whether it's with his legs or with his arm. I think the thing I will say, Mike, is I do think if he goes into the situation and performs, obviously we saw what happened with Fields. I think that's a very realistic scenario. I'm not trying to compare one for one. I'm just trying to point to a realistic scenario on a downside, right? It could be where it doesn't give you much long-term staying power. But, Mike, I think if he navigates the situation decently well, right, shows some upside, obviously still some growing pains, this situation's about as rough as it gets. So if he can hold off, I think getting to that, very early point in the draft where they have a, high pick, shit, man, it would be interesting to see what his dynasty value becomes, just because, man, when you talk about the guys that can really run the football, you can tell us we talk a lot, and we do. I'm guilty as charged, but there's only so many quarterbacks to talk about, Mike, that can really take off and run. He's on a very, very short list of those type of guys.
Yeah, I think he could be very good for your fantasy teams, and I don't think his price is going to quite reflect what he can actually deliver, at least for 2026. Now, I'm not going to bank on any kind of real certainty after that, because this team could be so god-awful where they have, the 2 wins at the end of the season, and they're picking number 1 or number 2 next year. That's like, yeah, they're taking a quarterback. Well, they just gave Malik that contract. Well, it wasn't that big. All right, it wasn't that big. We've seen him get out of much bigger contracts. They're fine.
It's fine. We were talking, what was it, maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago? You were like, talking about the rumor mill and what he was going to get. I mean, he got a good contract, but it wasn't anywhere near, I don't think, 30 guaranteed or whatever. It was good for him to get an opportunity to go start and, make some real money. But it's very much still an earn it contract, as we know. Mike, let me ask you, because it's funny, we didn't have it here. We kind of, the tea leaves were telling you it was going to be Kyler going to Minnesota, and it actually does end up coming to fruition here. Let's talk about it from a couple different lenses, but let's focus on Kyler here first, right? Leaves Arizona, and man, oh my gosh, I had to hold on to some Kyler shares because there was literally no other option. And man, if you listen to the narratives in the news, I mean, this dude was done. It's over. Career cooked. I mean, don't know if you saw where he was in keep trade cut land for the season, but he was in Aaron Rodgers land. I mean, we're talking just completely forgotten. What do you think of Kyler going to this Minnesota situation for a 1-year contract?
It's good for him. It's good for him to kind of get that chance to compete for a job. Like, I think a lot of people are going to say he's going to get it right off the rip. I'm a little more skeptical. I like Kyler's going to have to earn it. It's going to be like this Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson situation, and we may not get a lot of clarity on it right away. They did draft J.J. McCarthy. I get it. The general manager's gone, but J.J.'s been there. He's been in the locker room. He's still a young guy developing. We've seen guys in off seasons take leaps in their development as far as quarterbacks. Josh Allen, for one. I'm not saying we're going to have that kind of leap, but you see guys progress. It happens. It does happen. Young quarterbacks can get better throughout an off season.
I think especially when you compare J.J. McCarthy to the situation, I mean, I think it's almost impossible for him not to get better this offseason than what he played this last year for sure.
I'm always fascinated by this with bounce back quarterbacks like this. They land in spots and they got maybe a young guy that we're not sure of and hasn't played really well, and all of a sudden like everybody jumps right back on. Like you said, 7-8 weeks ago, people couldn't have been more out on Kyler Murray and they hated him. And
Jacoby Brissett was speaking of trailing and not winning. He set a record for pass attempts and yards and all that. And see, the whole problem was Kyler. Well, I mean, Mike, I hear you. I will say, I think, generically speaking, it definitely, there's a lot of truth to what you're saying as far as, they invested in the quarterback. I think there's a lot to me when I look at this specific situation. I'm not going to say that J.J. McCarthy's, been written off yet, but I think that Kyler Murray does have to come in and clearly win the job. But I think it's in this situation and it's in his favor to go in, be a veteran, be a pro. And I think the big thing for him is if he can show some maturity and he can show that that's part of what he's been needing to get, or at least embracing that. I think if he comes in with the right mindset with this Kevin O'Connell offense, I think he will end up winning out the quarterback competition there. I'm not going to say it's guaranteed, but I do think that will be his if he goes about it the right way and he goes in there with the right mindset. And I think this is what I'll say. I think for J.J. McCarthy, obviously if he wins out and he ends up going into that would be almost one of the biggest bounce back stories that you could hardly believe. Honestly, when you look at Kevin O'Connell's situation and system, J.J. McCarthy, it's not like a lot of these other quarterbacks where you say they had a bad year. I mean, he's historically out of the range of any other quarterbacks that have been, any long-term starter for multiple games as far as what he did in production. I'm not going to say it's all his fault. I don't believe it is. I think there was a lot of things that took place this year. But I do think when you look at moving forward, J.J. McCarthy might still need some development. And I think there's a lot of opportunity you look around the league where, to me, if J.J. McCarthy ends up losing his job and gets discounted, Mike, I'm probably just going to end up holding, similar to, like I talked about with Fields. I don't think he has the rushing upside of Fields, but I think that if he gets to that range, I do believe he'll get a chance to start for another team at some point, and you hold there. But I think Kyler, at least for this season, Mike, this is a very good situation for him to go into, right? And I think if you have Kyler Murray shares, there's almost no better. I'm with you as far as you don't want to get too far over your skis. But, man, tell me which scenario you'd rather him be going into if you had Kyler Murray on your dynasty team. To me, I think this was, based on the opportunities out there, the best and most desirable one.
The only one that I liked more, and I talked about it with Fizz on his show, was, not for fantasy purposes for this season, but essentially taking a redshirt year, going to the Rams. Listen, Matt Stafford's got one more ride in him. Sean McVay gets his hooks in Kyler. It can be like this. You're our guy. As soon as Matt Stafford's gone, you're our guy, and we're going to set you up for that because he's done such a good job with redemption arcs on quarterbacks. So,
no, I can see that. I do think. Listen, I think for a long-term picture, I think you that's a very good one to bring up. I will say, didn't you get the feeling? And you kind of can tell now, especially with this, Mike. I think there was a very much this feeling of Kyler for the first time in a while had a lot of stuff not go according to plan, and he doesn't like these narratives. I think he's very, very focused on, and we'll see if he actually does it, but very focused on turning his career around and proving people wrong. So I think waiting that year for him probably felt like an eternity. So But I'm not opposed to that too. I mean, Mike, you saw what happened with Baker Mayfield before he went to the Rams. I mean, what he was being told it's over. So it would have been a good situation. I'm curious to see what ends up happening there long term. But I just think, Mike, let me ask you, where would you put him now, Kyler Murray in Dynasty, given all this situation here?
It's a little tougher because I don't know whether he's going to win that job outright. Right? J.J. McCarthy still has talent, still a young guy. You kind of got to hedge your bets a little bit. I will say where people had him ranked, Kyler, 5-6 weeks ago, was way too low because he was almost outside the top 32 for quarterbacks, which is
all right. So
crazy to me.
Let's do this then. Let's talk about it from the standpoint of where you're at now and the fear that you have of the quarterback, situation, him actually getting the starting job, and then let's talk about where he would go for you if he does. Let's just say we could fast forward and say he does earn the starting job week 1.
Where he's at right now, the Q-Chat cut's got him at 24. I think that's probably pretty fair with the uncertainty. Now, if you were to tell me Kyler wins this week 1 job, that is entirely too low. Entirely too low. And
that's where I'm at, Mike. And you could say I'm jumping the gun, and you could very well be right, and I could end up being wrong. And I'm not. I don't want to actually act as though it's a formality. I think that he's in the position to do it, but I don't think it's guaranteed. But here's my thing, Mike. I'm okay being a little bit ahead on that and taking the risk on that because, Mike, here's my thing. If you tell me right now Kyler Murray is the quarterback for the Vikings to start the year, right? And at that point, there's also that scenario where it's like, all right, obviously only on a 1-year deal, but we've seen what Kevin O'Connell can do, and if he can show some promise, he could end up being a bridge to, short-term franchise QB. Mike, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. He goes past a large number of quarterbacks ahead of him right now. Just because of the combination he has with, I think he's underrated. I think he's not given enough credit for what he can do as a passer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's always perfect and he's got plenty of inconsistencies and he's had plenty of games where it's like, dude, what the fuck is going on? Like you've missed crazy amounts of throws. You're turning the ball over. But Mike, he's still one of the guys that I think he's a little bit now in this part of his career outside of the elite Konami code, but right on the border of being a, legit Konami guy. So you tell me that with all the weapons plus Kevin O'Connell, I mean, dude, it's hard for me to not put him significantly higher than 24 if he's the quarterback for Minnesota this year.
You could tell me he's the starting quarterback for week 1 and he won this job over J.J. McCarthy and this is who they're rolling with. And he gets Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, Kevin O'Connell, not decimated offensive line like they had last year.
Lord.
Plus with whatever they end up doing in the draft, if they had a weapon or two or a running back that we like, you sit there and you go, it'd be really tough for me to not rank him at a stupid high range. And I'm talking
Tell me. I put my number out there last week with EB, so I don't want to give it to you unless you've heard it. But go ahead.
No, I haven't. I'm going to go with 12.
I think I was right about there. I think I said 10, Mike.
Yeah, okay. All right, we're smoking the same.
I mean, buddy, right now, you just look at it. So you got T-Law at 11, Bo Nix at 12, Purdy at 13, Jordan Love 14. I'm willing to go the short term, maybe not as long of a ride, but it's going to be a crazy roller coaster. You got to be a little bit taller to ride this type of ride. So, not a pun for Kyler there, obviously, but
it's a terrible Kyler pun.
No, but I think Mike. I mean, realistically, he gets to the next tier. He'd be at the top of that tier, right, for me. So that's what I was also saying. Like, I would take him ahead of those guys. But he's not. He doesn't go to the next tier because the next tier to me is the guys that are truly solidified elite.
Yeah, I really feel like with that offense, if you could guarantee him starting with what he can still do with his legs and the weapons around him and Kevin O'Connell, you're looking at somebody who's like 18 to 20 points per game, like on average at the quarterback position, and that's QB1 stuff. That's QB1 territory for sure.
No, I mean, listen, and do stuff 2025. Listen, I don't disagree necessarily even on this, but I think here's my biggest thing, and the reason I'm bullish on it, I do think we saw moments from Kyler that were special. Now, I think overall there was clearly there's clearly a lot for him to develop on, and I think some of it is just maturity. So I hope this situation change is a good thing for him. I think Kevin O'Connell is going to be easily the best locker room guy, winning guy, quarterback development guy that he's been a part of. Listen, Cliff's great as an offensive mind, but he's not really the most, he doesn't have the best track record as far as winning games as a head ball coach either. So I'm not trying to make excuses for Kyler, but the biggest thing is not even necessarily that I do think he can become a very good quarterback in the NFL. But my thing is that I think with this offense and with his rushing, I'm willing to bet on, even if it doesn't work out long term, and even if he isn't, the savior for Minnesota, that he's going to give me 2 to 3 years of fantasy production, which could be elite. And that's really what I'm more so betting on. So I don't think we necessarily disagree there.
I don't know if I still don't.
And I
really
could be wrong, by the way. And if I miss, I'm okay because I know I don't have to pay quarterback 12. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
I don't know if necessarily Brissett outplayed Kyler or it was just better for our fantasy teams because they were throwing 50 times a fucking game. Like, they were so out of it. And there was multiple games where Brissett played where by halftime, even for fantasy points, you're like, dude's got 3 points. Like, he's already thrown 2 picks in this fucking game. Jesus Christ. And then they come out and they're down by 21, and it's like, here we go. Let's just run Verts. Let's just run Michael Wilson. Just go deep, buddy. We're gonna Jameis Winston this fucking thing. We're gonna chuck it all over the place. So I don't know necessarily if he played better than Kyler, but it was just a different style, especially by that point in the season. They said, fuck it.
I do think here's, I guess, what I think there's probably some truth to that. But here's what I will say. I think if you think about the Cardinals and their expectations, right? This is what I'm talking about a little bit, where they got everyone remembers the DeAndre Hopkins catch in that crazy game and how good they were and where they were supposed to be, legitimate threats. And I think from that point, Mike, it continued to dwindle. Like, the excitement became lower and lower and lower, and it became a lot more like head scratching and people, asking questions, raising eyebrows. If they were bad this year with Kyler anywhere near like this, Mike, I think it would have been horrific for everybody. You could make a case, I could at least, I think, that it might have been better for Kyler just to go ahead, and if they're going to be that bad, let my man just go to a new team and let this be the narrative. Because you're not wrong. I mean, the defense was terrible. This team was awful. But the good news is at least there was some kind of a situation where they're throwing a ton of yards and they're getting points, some sort of a positive feeling for the offensive weapons there. Because that was the thing, especially last year with Marv in his rookie year. It was like, there was just some weird shit going on between that and, sometimes I think with Kyler, the expectations were just it got out of hand and he wasn't going to be able to live up to it given the team they had at the moment.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett had 7 games with over 40 pass attempts.
Well, he did also. I mean, they did chuck the ball, and to be honest, that's the other thing. Right, their run game, James Conner, right, and their run game went to dog shit too. They almost had no other options but to chuck the ball. But
he played 12 games. 7 of those he threw for 40 times. Jesus Christ.
Well, I was going to say, but they also didn't have many other options. But he also did, I think, right? He did have in those 12 games a healthy number of yards, and it wasn't like he turned the ball over like crazy. I think he had 7 or 8 picks. So
12 games he had. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 picks in 12 games.
For all those pass attempts, Mike, that's actually pretty damn good, right? Honestly,
it's not bad. It's not bad.
And he had, let's see, he was at 65% completion on all those passes. Yikes, 20, and that was a career high in touchdowns. Obviously, he's not had the opportunity to do that much, but
I never would have guessed this. All those pass attempts, only 4 games over 300 yards passing.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
No, actually, I might have. When I think about the specifics, Mike, there was a couple games where it was kind of ugly. What's crazy? It was what game was that? He had a really good game. I think they even lost, but they were on somewhat of a primetime game, and sometimes this is where the national media just drives me bonkers. It's like, he has to be the quarterback for the rest of the season and all this stuff. We didn't know if Kyler was going to be coming back yet. And it's like, I get it. He played well, but like he acted like they came back from 20 and they won the game and he's, saving their season. I mean, getting a little ahead of ourselves. I think it was a good thing for Jacoby Brissett. And I think it was for their offensive weapons. Nice to see them get, to get some good stats in there. Michael Wilson, I think, is the craziest, most beneficial by far. Nobody saw that coming from Michael Wilson.
Was it week 11 versus San Francisco with his 57 pass attempts, 82% completion though on that.
Honestly, you know what?
Yards.
There it is. That sounds right. Yep. And San Fran's damn good too, right?
And 2 picks. Yeah, the Dallas game. Yeah, that was on Monday Night Football too. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That's the one I'm thinking of, Mike. Is the Dallas game? Did they win that one too?
Yeah, Dallas was pretty shit. I think they might have.
Yeah. What's up, Fizz?
Yeah, what's up, Fizz? Yeah, 261 in that game.
Okay.
2 touchdowns.
That one actually though, that was different. They did win that game, which is crazy. They only won 3 games, right? All right, Mike. Any other players you want to talk about specifically, or any other situations? Rookies. I was gonna get to at some point here. Not just yet, but we got the merge drawing. Go ahead, Mike.
Just a quick rundown of we've had pro days going on. Saw a lot of positive notes about Drew Allar's pro day, which was cool.
I hope something positive happens for Drew Allar. He's from just down the road here in Medina, and man, is one of these C2C guys that made huge, upside. A lot of promises made about him, and his career has unfortunately not been that great.
I got
so
one
far.
real surprise for you, for me, for Dynasty Takeaway. One real surprise out of Pro Day news. Oscar Delp had a crazy good Pro Day with his athletic testing. And then all things considered, they would not let him test at the combine because they found out he played with a hairline fracture in his foot for the entirety of the season, and they would not medically clear him to do it at the combine.
Right.
And then for him to go out and have that kind of workout.
Wasn't he under 4.5 too?
Yeah, 4.48.
4.48. Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw. Now with the pro day, you add a little bit to it, but I mean, dude, he was
4.53 at that size is still fucking moving for a tight end position. And
for those that don't know, tight end out of Georgia, 6'5", 250, right?
Yeah.
Roughly. I mean, dude's
hairline fracture in his foot that was so bad that the combine was like, the NFL said, like, we're not taking responsibility. We can't let you work out on the field. And then to go out and do that, I was like, what? Okay, Oscar. What's going on?
I know based on the combine, Mike likes hearing that, like, he was trying to go out there and run, they wouldn't let him. Very rarely is that the case, and that was this time.
And then I got one bad piece of news I saw out of Pro Days. One real bad piece of news. Jonah Coleman, what the fuck?
Jonah Coleman, dude, actually, it's funny because I was going to get to this, and I didn't really want to, but, we didn't have any room for error. There's no room for error. Secret Service. Consequences.
No. Yeah.
Mike, as far as overall assets trending down, it doesn't get worse. Much worse, anyway, than for our Jonah Coleman, man. Oof.
Like, they had a film session
How does that happen, though? Like,
they had a film session on him when I was gone, and the consensus that I got from the film session that the patrons did in my absence was that they liked Jonah Coleman quite a bit, and I liked him throughout the season as a player. And then when he didn't do anything really at the combine as far as athletic testing, I went, all right, that's not really his game. You make these excuses. We'll see what he does at his pro day. It's his environment. You come out and you run. And Jonah, if you can give me, somewhere in the 4.5s, even at a pro day, I'll be like, all right, my man. All right, you did enough. I still like your tape. I'll make all the excuses for you. For him to not do anything, even at his pro day, is telling me, like, this motherfucker's slower than shit. This is like Roderick Estime bad, and all of a sudden now the analytical part of my process takes over, and I go, we're probably looking at a sub-90 speed score running back, boys. Like, all right, I'm good. I'm out.
I'm with you for sure in fantasy, at least at the moment. I mean, I guess here's the thing. This class is has so much lack of depth, Mike, that frankly, if someone was to, draft him much higher, and I think he's going to get drafted at this point, maybe I'll have to consider him there. But the thing is, I don't know. The thing is, I also liked some of the things I saw on film and at points for him this year. So it's not a good look, buddy, that you're not doing anything. It makes, if you are actually somewhat, you don't have to be a crazy athlete, obviously the NFL, but if you're not a, negative athlete, a sub high end athlete, it makes the smoke alarms go off for everybody. I think even drafting teams. So It's kind of curious. Like, I just don't understand how that happens unless there's something out there where, he's claiming he got hurt and he can't. But I don't know. Didn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, I'm getting a little too much now, like Elijah Holyfield vibes. You remember that guy's 40?
I wish I didn't, but yeah, it was not pretty. But Jonah Coleman also too, like he was stout. He's 5'8". People get worked up, but he's 220. He runs pretty hard. I like some of the way he moves, but man, if you're telling me he's a super slow combine measure, that's probably not going to be good for his overall success, man.
No. Do you remember what Elijah Holyfield's 40 time was too? It was something abysmal.
I'm pretty sure it was like really high fours, wasn't it?
4.78.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say it was a 4.8. So okay, I was a little off, but
even Elijah Holyfield, like he knew he ran a 4.78. He's like, I'm still going out. I'm still going out. You guys are gonna see it.
What if that 4.78 was like, all right, I beat 4.8 like that.
I left it all on the field.
I did my thing.
Left it all out there. Yeah. Now there's still hope for Jonah Coleman. Draft capital is going to mean so much, and if some team ends up taking him, day 2, we'll adjust. But if we're talking, we get into these late 4th, 5th round picks, with no athletic testing on there, which speed score means so much for running backs.
Massive.
So much. We have outliers.
There's definitely been some recently too that have hit in a big way, and I'm not saying that you can't still bet on some. You do your thing, especially Mike. We all, I think, go against our process at times, but I would say by and large, it's been really not good for the people that have. The biggest thing is, Mike, you just can't be not a plus athlete. That's fine, but you can't be a subpar athlete where you're basically not athletic enough to really make any type of plays in the NFL on a regular basis.
That's not that wasn't a good look. So that was the negative. But
what's up,
props
Alex?
to Oscar Delp. We'll talk about the positives, man. Now Oscar Delp, all of a sudden, Adam, probably in our drafts, you and I fight over him in the 3rd round, I think.
But dude, listen, with what frickin' just happened with Jonah Coleman, who's saying he's making it to the 3rd round? I mean, have you seen this draft?
That's fair.
And that's what's crazy to me about the short-sightedness sometimes of people selling DJ Moore for a late 2nd and a 3rd. You guys don't even like those picks. I know for a fact.
You hate them.
It's weird to me. Anyway, so Mike, here, let's talk one more. We could obviously talk at some other point more. Ask questions, though. Give us questions. We want to hear them. We'll go ahead and do a Fizz intro, let you get some questions in. But, Mike, I want to talk about this with you here. I told you that I think there was a chance this would happen if obviously the runway was there for Tootin. Now, you can say whatever. Now, obviously, it's who didn't see it coming. But here's my question to you, Mike. What just give me the McNutted truth on where you're at with the opportunity in front of him, and then frankly where his cost is at the moment.
So kind of like some of the other guys we talked about, like Romeo Doubs and Wandale Robinson, still a lot of bullets that he's got to dodge yet. We still got a long off season to go. Don't know what they do in the draft. Etienne, well, now we also learned that's not how you say his fucking name. It's Travis Etienne.
And it's Etienne, and you don't say Etienne. Devon Etienne isn't that way. So yeah, who?
I did, which is
I don't know what's going on anymore, Mike.
I did see somebody say that as soon as Devon Etienne gets traded to a new team and does his introductory press conference, he's going to let us know that it's
complete new pronunciation.
Yeah, his name is actually pronounced, Devon Etienne.
Etienne Jr. Yep.
But so with Travis Etienne being gone, it's good for him, but he still has some bullets to dodge. I actually expected when I pulled him up on Keep Trade Cut that I would see something where I was like, oh fuck.
You thought it would get higher than this? I think it's still moving up, but Mike, I think here's the thing. Go ahead.
Very respectable. It's very respectable.
Yeah, no, I think here's the thing though, right? I think you get to the point all of a sudden where he's right on the neck of, even for the people that want to push up the narrative, Mike, it's Jacobs, it's Etienne, it's Barkley, it's Javonte. So these are guys that did just perform the last year. And I think he's basically this. The expectations are very high. He's already up 27 spots. I think what you mentioned, though, is this. I don't know how much it'll actually matter for Keep Trade Cut, because I think sometimes they're not really thinking that much. They're just literally pressing click. But, Mike, if he here's what I would say. You talk about the Bucky Irving situation, right? And, what It was so can I say this? It was so weird how little run he got in a big scale for us to be here and for this narrative to be pushed so hard still that's seemingly correct that Cohen just wants this guy to be the guy. But you're looking at him out there half the time on 20-something% of snaps. It's like, I don't know. It's just odd. But if he ends up being this guy that was a, early 4th-round pick, he gets through the majority of the rounds this year, I'm going to be excited. You talk about the speed score, and this guy has all the traits, right? So I'm going to be excited, but it's just, Mike, it's uneasy land right now, frankly. We're right in the range where it's like, okay, it's not crazy, but it's close to crazy. I mean, Mike, ask yourself this for a second. In what world, it's coming off of, obviously, Barkley with a down year, but the year prior, Barkley literally broke not just fantasy, but running back expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Bashaw Tootin, after the rookie year he had, it's 4 or 5 spots from Barkley. Right. As far as dynasty value, Mike, it's negligible. It's less than 1,000 KTC points. I mean, It's uncomfortable. That's what I'll say. I'm really excited for my Tootin shares. I think I'm gonna try to trade some, especially if the draft comes and goes and he's still like the feature guy supposedly. But Mike, I have a bunch of shares, so I probably want to get off of some. But I'm still really excited. It's just we're getting to the point where he's costing, he's ahead of Henry. He's ahead of some other guys. I don't know if I'm really comfortable yet.
The only guys that he's ahead of where I go like, let's pause and just pump the brakes would be Henry for one. You brought up Swift and Monty.
Swift. I think those are the 3.
I think Tootin, Swift, Monty deserve to be in like.
I'm still bullish on JK going back there, but I'm not going to put him ahead of Tootin. No, I'm with you.
But I have no problem if you rank Tootin above Scatabo, for example.
And he's basically they're basically the same right now. Yeah.
If you rank Tootin above RJ Harvey, I have no problem with that. The only ones I have a problem, Derrick Henry, just until Derrick Henry decides to hang it up. Like that's the guy. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, with Swift and David Montgomery, I think with their roles that they have now, granted, there's still some stuff that could shake out draft wise to like fuck that up a little bit. But
sure,
I think all those guys in a tier, that's probably about right. And Tootin would probably be the most sex appealed one out of it because it's like we haven't really seen it yet.
But that's what's crazy is. Mike, so he's up as far as running backs go, right? He's up. I mean, obviously with the Etienne, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'll try. With that news, he's up 27, which is basically. I mean, by the way, that's the equivalent of what Kenneth Walker's up. Okay, so, I mean, it's in the top of the neighborhood as far as running backs go, and like when you think about this, like, I guess here's my biggest actual like hang up. This is a guy that basically could not earn at all the trust and clearly the pass pro at all. Like the part of the reason Snapshare is so bad is because you just can't be relied on. They don't trust you, in any situation other than they're basically putting you in and there's a very good chance you're getting the ball. If you look at his snap percentage relative to his touches, it's like otherworldly because they're worried about him, possibly being a pass pro. That part of his game, I think, with this opportunity, I hope he kind of takes that and tries to do better at it because that's one of those things, man. You'll end up missing time on the field, buddy, if you can't do that.
Right. Or we could have this really. I mean, they did sign Chris Rodriguez. They like that LaQuinn Allen that they drafted out of Syracuse last year.
Those JCM truthers have it happen again to Tootin. You imagine? Oh.
You could just have a really messy, gross backfield
Awful.
At the end of the day.
Disgusting.
Right? Just we don't give a shit about anyone. And let me just point this out. I give 0 fucks about the Chris Rodriguez thing. Like
I'm with you, but I know.
I don't factor that in at all. I'm just saying we could have a messy situation.
Mike's like, listen, you guys want to have fun in the offseason? No. We're talking Rodriguez, okay?
We're talking Chris Rodriguez.
Well, we do have some fun to come in with the merch. Patreon.com/South Harmon. Got the merch on and popping. We got some drawings to do. We've got questions to get to. And Mike, do you have anything further on, your time away, your time back, any players or, things that have you made any trades? That was one thing I wanted to ask you before the show goes.
I think I had one come in. I don't remember what the fuck it was though. I think me and Coop did a trade. I'll have to pull that up, man.
Me and you did one live on air. We might have to see if we can kick that up again. Dude, I've been getting – the amount of ghosting I've been getting, buddy, I must have really got old. Like, nobody wants to DM me anymore. It's just not –
No, we're good.
It's all right, though. It's okay.
Yep. Me and Coop did a trade.
What kind of dirtiness did you get down with?
Oh, no, we didn't do a trade. He sent me a terrible offer, which I told him to fuck off.
That's all right. That happens to me a lot. I thought something good happened, and, it didn't.
He wanted to get Kyler for, like, the 209.
Well, that boat, I think, or that ship has sailed. But let's go ahead and get to Fizz, and we'll get into the drawing, and we'll get into questions. All right?
Let's go.
Welcome to South Harmon. Welcome to South Harmon. Hey, welcome to South Harmon. We glad you here today. Another AMA. Ask me anything. Super chat is cool if you wanna pay to play. Like and subscribe, that's what we really appreciate. Let me introduce you to the tear down king. Mike McNutty, ask your questions, he'll answer anything. ATM, you know Adam put them graphics on the screen. Glad you tapped in now, stay tapped in for the team. Hey, everything is posted. Go follow the socials. South Harmon FF tag us if we get noticed. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today. Another AMA. Welcome to South Harmon, we glad you here today.
Yes, sir. We are glad you're here today. Tootin's glad to be here today. Go ahead and get a couple questions in. If you have questions waiting, I'll get a couple in, and then we'll get to the drawing, Mike. This one here just doesn't make sense, and it's kind of like it was kind of on purpose. It's like the running back market at this point, buddy. Like,
I do got to point out. All right, so you've went to Florida for a week, and you've hooked me up with so many pairs of Jordans here over the last calendar year. Whether it's through drawings or whether it's just out of the kindness of your own heart. Adam, I can successfully report to you that during that week, I wore every single pair I've gotten from you.
My motherfucking man.
So I flew down in the shattered backboards, the OGs.
Love it.
Broke out the mellows one night. We broke out the bugs.
Those actually, what's crazy? I feel like those shattered backboards are the ones, but the shattered backboards are relative to the Jordan 1 series, a little bit more comfortable, a little better materials. Surprising for how old that shoe is, really comfortable. Like, people don't think typically that's a good travel shoe, but it is.
I got the fire reds out, learned how to use the lace lock.
The fire reds down there. You put the lace lock on it? Like last time, when he got him, he was like, what happened? Adam didn't get this through security correctly? He thought this was some kind of a security thing.
No, I actually sat in my hotel room, I think on Sunday night, and I watched a tutorial on how to properly lace Jordan 5 Fire Reds with lace lock, and I had them bitches clean. Oh, they were clean.
The fives are, especially depending on the colorway, some of my favorites. They're a little bit of a, more acquired taste, but when you put them together right, they're dope, man. That's awesome.
I took them out every single day. I had a different pair from Adam. I was rocking.
Let's go, man. Fire Reds. He's heating it up in Florida, and it's only 50 out there, but Mike's coming through with the Fire Red 5s. Oh. So questions. Let's see if we got anything. Oh, here we go. Got one right off the top. 12-team Superflex, Mike. Full PPR, start 11. So we're in a start lineup league. Give Caleb and Tootin. Get Hurts, James Cook, 204.
Oh, easy money here.
Here's the thing. This should, and I think the way you did it is correct. I was just going to say that this isn't a question, in my opinion, and you put it correctly with the period. The punctuation's key. This is sometimes, I think, where, what are we doing? Like, let's be honest, right? Let's say you got Caleb ahead of Jalen Hurts. Fine. I mean, I probably don't yet, but I can understand it. I don't think it's quite there, but let's even say it's warranted, but Mike, they're kind of still in the same tier, let's say, for me at the moment. All right. Even if you think you got Caleb a little bit of a value there because you're getting younger. Mike, this is something I was talking about with Eric last week. James Cook is just – why? What is the fear? What is the –
Why do we hate him?
If last offseason last offseason was legitimately reasons to fear. There's reasons based on last offseason that we've seen become problematic for a player. James Cook went out and dominated in that scenario, got the bag. Like, this is just silly stuff. James Cook is significantly higher in tiers to a Tootin. And if Tootin even becomes the, Bayshall Tootin going crazy, he maybe gets to James Cook. Maybe. Why the 204? I don't know why. If anything, the 204 should be on the other side, in my opinion. But it probably just doesn't need to be warranted at all. 204 here, while the class is not the greatest, and the seconds I don't really care about. This is easy home run to the Hurts and the Cook side, in my opinion, man.
Yep, you said it. Caleb and Hurts at worst, same tier for people. I just want to remind people Jalen Hurts had a terrible offense coordinator last year, and
we're gonna go through it again probably next year too. The dude just stays in this range of hated, in the offseason.
Caleb Williams and Jalen Hurts delivered basically the same fucking thing, and Hurts had a horrible quarterbacks coach, and he had a fucking horrible offense coordinator. But if you even wanted to make the case, well, Caleb's next year in the offense, second year under Ben Johnson, he's gonna take a bigger leap. I'd give you the same counterpoint that, listen, with Sean Mannion, it can't be any fucking worse than what we saw last year. So I cancel those guys out. But then when you look at Tootin versus James Cook, it's like,
holy shit. Well,
can I first, I think, between those two. Holy shit. How the fuck do you get the 204 added to your side? What?
I will say format isn't going to matter here. I want the other side regardless. But I want to say this. Mike, to me, this is what's really crazy. This is start 11, right? So if you listen to us on the process stuff and where we're at with Dynasty Takes, to me, this type of a league, especially with what we have going on right now, Mike, with the quarterback values, it's not like you're going from Caleb to a non-potential elite quarterback here, right, where there's that big fear. And also quarterbacks aren't at the peaks of their powers as far as Dynasty value. So how are we going to stay in a pretty damn good tier at QB, even if you think it's a loss? And I get a massive upgrade at running back, which, frankly, in a start 11, the skill players become a lot more important because there's 9 starters of skill players versus 2 quarterbacks. And then the 204, Mike, the 204 in a start 11 could absolutely mean huge amounts of upside for flex, as well as potentially going ahead and, basically tearing up when other people have injuries. It's crazy to me that happened in a start 11.
Yeah. That was wild.
That deal, I will say I got a deal better out there, but did not expect to see this. Okay, would you sell Rico for Helm in 2 early 26 thirds, Mike? Gunnar Helm in 2 early 26 thirds.
Rico Dowdle?
Yeah.
I don't really care about the Gunnar Helm part. Maybe. It's an A-Warp tight end. That's right. Like, Chig's gone, so does that mean Gunnar Helm's going to be
he could be in it. I'll give you this. He might be an A-Warp tight end.
He might be an A-Warp tight end. Okay.
We're hopeful. We're hopeful.
The Rico contract wasn't anything like super crazy, but he is going to have an opportunity in Pittsburgh. I just don't know how big it's going to be.
Definitely.
If Rico hadn't fucking literally just ceded the backfield back to Chuba and just fell off the face of the fucking earth in the second half of the season, it'd be like,
that whole scenario
so much here.
That whole scenario was so weird how basically you could feel by the way everyone was talking and approaching the situation. Chuba was their guy. They paid him. GMs don't want to be wrong. Coaches don't want to have to sit the guy. And Rico eventually got so loud on the field and then got loud, with his volume too, to the mics. It's like, oh shit, like this dude just came and seized this role. And for 3 or 4 weeks when he was getting the full workload, you're like, this dude might be one of the best running backs in fantasy at the moment. Like he was for that small amount of time. But what's crazy, Mike, is to your point, it was almost like the volume or the situation, lack of offense elsewhere. It fell off a cliff. That burst that we saw, whatever it was, 2-3 weeks, Mike, it was gone in a iota, and now it's like, okay, well, Rico's gone, Chuba, you're at least for now the default number one. Mike, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on which side you want here first?
So if this is a best ball league, absolutely yes. If it's a lineup league, I'm doing a little more diving into people don't like the class. They think it sucks, the whole works. But I'm telling you, when we get to draft time, like, people look at 301 and 302 like, well, it was almost a second. And there's going to be guys that have hot names in there that I think are going to be pretty close already to the value of Rico, like just where he is and where he's probably going to stay, that I think I might even do it in the lineup. I think I would.
I'm taking Rico here. I think there's a multitude of reasons. I'm not saying you can't do take those 2/3. And here's the thing, right? You get two dice rolls. There's a chance. I know people hate the class. Mike, I'm with you on the sentiments that you're mentioning. As much as you hate the class, there's a very decent chance that one of these two ends up being a viable RB. Let's call it a 1B in an offense, right? With that basically is a rookie will put you within striking distance of where Rico's at right now, running back 30. So I totally get the side there. Here's my thing. I think early in the year, right, you've got McCarthy. You've got an offense that I think is going to end up – I think he's got a chance to get a lot of touches, and we saw him at times last year do well with a lot of touches. This is one of those situations, Mike, where I think he's on a short list of running backs that early in the year I'm going to put in my lineup. And a lot of times for me in lineup leagues, Mike, let me just say this. I've learned this for roster construction, the way I've been managing my teams more with this thin running back room. I put a little priority on having a couple extra bodies, knowing that they may not work out, knowing that it could not do well, but that I can kind of get myself through that first month. So if I have Rico here, I would stay for sure. I don't know that I'm necessarily sending the 2/3 in Helm. I don't care about Helm as well. But I'm saying if I have Rico here, I'm probably not taking this unless it's closer to the point where we're drafting and I like some of the players now and I'm like, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and take the picks.
I think I sell the unsexy running back now at this point in the season, and then I get into the things that I think could get a value bump where we get somebody doing something stupid for, and then try to sell those off and get back into another unsexy running back, probably on the cheaper, in June or July, something along those lines. As I get closer to point scoring season.
Yeah, if I'm holding Rico here, he's gonna be on my team until we get to September. And because I think here's the thing, I think a lot of times I've found, Mike, that right or wrong in that September October window, they can help you score points if you at worst case scenario. But a lot of times I've seen people end up all of a sudden people are sending seconds for players they never were sending seconds for before. It's a dynasty theory almost, and it works out. People just start sending stuff they shouldn't because it's like, oh, we got to score points. So that's part of the reason I say that.
I'm just looking at rookie ranks on Keep Trade Cut right now, and just like guys in that early third range. It's Katron Allen, Jeremy Bernard, Jacoby Lane, Antonio Williams, Michael Trigg, Damon Claiborne, Le'Veon Moss, Jam Miller. Like dudes like that, and I'm like,
you like Le'Veon Moss? I kind of like Le'Veon Moss. Honestly.
Yeah, I've always kind of liked Le'Veon Moss from my C2C days, man. Yeah. But
I took him in a mock with Debro and Seth. And
the only reason is that I can see scenarios with guys in that range, like one or two of those names, who would end up being the 301 or 302 in this class, getting steamed up because people like the landing spot or they got an opportunity here, like. Listen, the Jags took him in the fourth round to compete with Tootin.
The one thing you got to be
better than Tootin. And all of a sudden, you're looking at something that's equal in dynasty value to a guy like Rico Dowdle. And while I may not be able to buy Rico back in June, I can buy a Rico Dowdle type. I can buy a Tyler Algier, something along those lines, a James Conner, where I'm like, it's the same shit.
I do think, at least for me, Mike, I've found in lineup. I'm not telling you wrong. For me, I'm telling you, I've had a harder time between June and August in lineup leagues, actually getting those players to go through. Now, some of my leagues are different, right? Where people are like, I don't care, I'll sell you anybody. But a lot of times in these lineup leagues, man, I've seen people trying to just stay closer to competing early and not wanting to send their fucking dog shit away when it's like, dude, you're not competing. But it's like, all right, well, I'm not overpaying for him. Mike, what I did want to mention there is you definitely bring up a good point, and it can totally work out. Just remember, everybody out there, though, saying that, just be careful of your Kamani Vidal repeating itself again, okay? Because that does happen too,
It does happen quite a bit.
So, speaking of, Mike, let's see. Actually, I have one more question on here that I wanted to say. Oh, man, this kind of so who you got winning March Madness? Mike, I set up. I've been working on it. course, I didn't have enough time to put it together. But I actually made a scoreboard for us, like our own South Harmon, live ticker that brings through March Madness games, which right now Miami, Ohio is playing. I want to tell you guys something about this. All right, I have not paid hardly any attention to men's basketball this year, college. Normally, before making content, I used to always watching games. Mm-hmm. Miami, Ohio, Mike, did something crazy this year, really special. Well, obviously, you may be aware, but they were undefeated for the large majority of the year. And
through the regular season, yep. They lost in the quarters or the semis of their conference tournament.
Quarters, which is here's the thing, right? So if you're in the MAC, so the MAC is, if you don't know, they're historically they get one team in. So you get the winner of your you get your winner of the conference tournament. That's who goes, right? So basically they don't have at-large opportunity. Miami, Ohio, though undefeated throughout the season, they didn't have any crazy high-end scheduled games. They Mike, not only did they lose not in the championship, but 2 games prior, them getting a playing game just is crazy because the committee felt like they had to. Obviously, their resume was good enough, but to not win the MAC and get another school in is good luck. You're not going to see it very often. So right now they're up 58-50 over SMU. I think Miami's good, and it could have ended up being a good wake up for them. I mean, I don't think they're going to win too many games, but opening weekend's always chaotic, man.
Yeah. Who do I got winning? I don't know. This is such a fucking dart throw because kind of like you, before I started doing content, got so much into Dynasty and everything else. College basketball used to be the lifeblood.
Oh my
and now
gosh.
I find myself.
This time of year, I would normally have been driving my wife crazy because that's all I would be doing, watching games.
Yep. I don't know. We'll take Iowa Hawkeyes are winning the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. That ain't happening.
You got at least in this game, in the play-in game, you got to be rooting for the Miami Redhawks.
Sure.
Mike, let me ask you, Redhawks. Let me give you a little trivia here. Best player to go through the program. You got any idea?
Of Miami, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Honestly, you could probably say that. However, on the basketball side of things.
I have fucking no idea whoever the fuck played basketball at Miami of Ohio.
How about Mr. Wally World, man? Wally Zerbiak.
Wally Zerbiak was a Miami. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yes, sir.
Nope.
Yes, sir.
No fucking clue. Yeah.
Wally Zerbiak. All right, so
Minnesota Timberwolves fame.
Let's go ahead, Mike, and get to.
In all reality, I'm taking Duke. Cam Boozer.
You got Duke winning it all? So I was going to
Diaper Dandy.
I'll be honest with you. I just don't know enough to – even when you know enough, that winning March Madness is just – it's chaos, and it's fun. I love opening weekend, one of my favorite times. Yep. Like, speaking of chaos, let's go ahead and get into some real chaotic stuff. We got, Mike, the wheel. We don't have to go anywhere now. It's right in front of us. Now, here's the thing. This wheel is you're probably familiar with this basically being what it is right now. So you're like, this isn't any different than normal. But believe it or not, I'm not always on the hook right away to lose, okay? So I just tend to lose. It's just what happens to me. This wheel, Mike, there is no losing. So you get South Harmon Polo based on your size and what I have available for $49, which already is below our cost. And then for a guarantee winner for $35 spin, you get a pair of Jordans, a pair of foams, or a jersey from our partner Fanatics. So for those mathing, 35 is a lot less than like 150 for a jersey or 200 and whatever for a pair of shoes. And you already were getting a good deal with the polo. So I don't know what more you want from me. And if you want more from me, I got nothing left to give. Okay, so Mike, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at who all entered. And if you want to be a part of the merch tier, the deals are normally not this great, but they're always pretty damn reasonable.
It's just a real late entry into that one.
Did you? Well, I will say, I'll tell you, the guy, he will take no mercy on me. And honestly, I would do the same to him. So I was
just looking out there. I was like, there's a few things I don't have in my collection yet.
Well, listen, and this is the thing about it's like Dynasty, right? It doesn't matter how good your team is; it could always be better. Guys wearing Jordans every day down in Florida, but I always got a room on my shelf for another one. So let's go ahead and hit it. I will say, Mike, we've got you and somebody else actually are a late entry, so you guys will get. We're gonna roll this over for 2 more draws for you and for somebody else next week. But we got at the moment we're gonna run this fucking thing up. Speaking of running it up, we got right now Rippin, Vigels, Merck, Corey Mercer, Gimme Locks, Mayor Used, and the Jackson Tribe, not to be confused with the Jackson 5, all auto rolled. So, Mike, let me ask you. We'll start off with let's see. Let me pull up who we got here. So let's start off with, you know what? How do we start off with anyone other than Vigels? It's already a good deal, but he somehow get the best of the deal here. We'll start with Vigels. What do you think Vigels pulls over the merch here?
Vigels is pulling them pine greens.
Okay, listen, deliberate, right to it. All right, Vigels. Honestly, the weirder part is that not only is Vigels so good, Mike has called these so eerily right. I'm actually at the point now. I think he's gonna fucking take over my computer, and it's gonna be pine greens. Let's go for it, man.
It's pine
Vigels,
greens.
ready or not? Here we come.
Yeah. There's some dope ass shit on those. That arrow's all over the place. We don't even know where it's gonna land. Look at.
What the hell?
So one of the things is that I put some upgrades here and some randomizing, like to high degrees, made it kind of chaotic for the arrow. What the fuck was that? That wasn't what I was thinking. It was. I mean, there's nothing on here that I'm like, hell, awesome, take that. But the pine greens, Mike, I have 1 pair or 2 pairs. They're very hard to get, and yeah, the fact that you called that one, and then the fact is like, yeah, Mike is trying to cut my nuts off in front of people right now. Wow, what the fuck? Congrats, buddy. Let me know what size you are too.
Dude, I think I'm like the last 4 for 4. I need to start betting.
If Mike was good at betting on other things, and then if I was, if I lost at something else than this, that would be awesome too. But
holy
never
shit,
mad.
man.
Beagles, good pull. I think Beagles, you're 11.5 or 12. So
I might really want to go put like a band down on Iowa winning the national championship.
Don't do it. Stay up while you're ahead. All right. So Mike, let's get crazy. Let's go to the Jackson Tribe. All right, Jackson
Tribe.
Jordan, this is your shot. By the way, going out to Vegas, we were gonna link potentially when I was there in Christmas. Didn't happen. I'll be there, I think, next week. So as long as you don't take me for the worst of the worst here, I might still be willing to link up with you. All right.
I think I'm taking Flight Club on this one.
Okay.
I'll fall out of my fucking chair if I hit this one too.
I mean, I'm sure you will. Dude, do you have control of this fucking little arrow? What the fuck's happening? Look at this. By the skin of it, is that even over? Dude, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not that I wouldn't normally be honest with you. This is not okay. This is like torture. Not that like the Flight Club is the reason, but I mean, geez. Jordan, hopefully you wanted the Flight Club because he called a shot for you. This is called heat check right now. I mean, this dude's one shot from on fire. Can you keep it going? Let's go, Mayor Used. All right, Mayor Used.
I don't know if I'll get this one.
Oh my God, the guy's literally got the arrow going wherever the fuck he wants it. Now he's worried.
All right, Real Pro Foams.
Okay, the Pearl Foams. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
See what we can
Sorry
get,
if you're the one that I miss on.
Well, it happens. I mean, Mike does eventually miss, just typically not at this,
I don't even know where this arrow is.
Oh, Bugs? Bugs
That's
Bunny.
Bugs. All right, Mayor.
Bugs Bunny. Mike has a pair of those. You rocking them this week?
Ridiculously comfortable.
They are. The eights are. I don't know. I actually really, really like the 8s, but to your point, they are very comfortable. I like the
extremely comfortable. one of the few shoes that like you put on, and then at the end of the day, you forgot that you were wearing shoes.
You're kind
all
of
day. Your feet don't hurt.
They're relative to like what you wear now. They're very different, but they're kind of like extra cushiony or like pillowy at the bottom of your shoe.
Right.
You know.
The only thing that throws me off is that extra cushion they got in the back on the heel. And sometimes when you go put your foot into it, you like press that down and it gets stuck, and then you got to dig that fucking thing out.
Yeah, you gotta there's a little like sock. It's like a built-in sock essentially on the 8s.
Yeah,
yep, I know what you're talking about. All right,
dope. Those are great shoes.
Let's go. Let's see who else we got to get to here.
So I'm not perfect.
Well,
two
for 3. But you also you're basically like, this is like a bit. You're like, I don't think I'm gonna get this one. When he says he's gonna get it, it's when he's gonna get it. All right, we'll go. Give me locks. This is your time to shine, buddy. All right.
Oh, he's getting them 13s.
Ooh. All right. By the way, those Chicago 13s are just came out, so those are sick, man. Okay, Fanatics in the building. Fanatics jersey.
Adam's finally relieved. Like, thank God.
Believe me, it's not like, this is, yeah, I win big here, you know? I'm pretty sure, give me locks your 2X, which means all those are, I only have limiteds in the 2X, so they're basically 200 a piece. I have Drake London and JSN at the moment right now, for sure, I know, in the 2X, so those are probably the top of the market, but I'll send you after the show here what my availability is on the 2Xs. All right, Mike. So we got 2 people left to roll for. All
right.
Rippin', my guy. Where you been at, man? I'm just playing. So we got John W. Rippin'. Mike, what's he going to rip? What are we ripping for Rippin'?
Dude, I'm feeling them 14 Ferraris.
So here's the thing. 14 Ferraris, tough to come by. I've got, I think, 1 or 2 pairs. So if you pull the Ferraris, fuck it. You know, go hard. Go hard.
If you pull the Ferraris, I get you ripped.
Whoa.
Hit me up.
What the hell was that?
I don't know. That was a crazy one.
Like, didn't spin right.
There's the Chicago.
What is it? This arrow's got to go. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's hurting me because there's no losing. Damn, the Chicago's. Oh, I got to show you guys. These just came in, too. I love the 13s. I like all the shoes on here, but these ones just got here today. They had the kind of for the Black Panther, but it's like a hologram actually. So shout out to the holograms too. But the 13s are iconic. He wore these for the most of the series in his last title run. Although you probably remember him having the 14s on in the last shots. But nice pull, right?
The nice little push off on Byron Russell.
Exactly. I mean, the thing was, without the push off, he probably still has enough room to clear, but he fucking threw him for sure. He was going nowhere but forward.
Nice little shove. Little shove.
That was back when, it was legal to,
Those are sick, though.
Fight. Yeah, those are.
As you can see why I was a late entry, even though I'll have to wait. We'll push this off to the following week. But
Mike, we gotta have a little wait, a little bated breath wait. Plus, I'm pretty sure after I can only handle 6 of these right now.
There's only one on this entire fucking wheel where I'd go, and it's only because I have them. It's like I don't need a
the bugs.
Pair. Yeah, I was like I don't need a second pair. But everything else, I was like, yeah, I could use one of those.
One of those. Well, honestly, would you? I'm pretty sure Mike would take them and then find a way to flip them. That's how he would be like, I don't give a fuck. I already have a pair. You can send them my way, 100%. Yeah. Let's see. So
do some trading.
Oh yeah, nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. So who else we got? Last person here is Hoomst. One sec.
Did you Corey Mercer already, or was he gonna be on the next one?
Corey, look at me. Look at me. Forgetting my main Corey. Oh boy, Mike. So here you go. This is gonna be the call of the century, Mike. What's he going with? What's he getting?
Oh man, I think I've gotten Corey before. Like I've nailed one for him before.
I know. You've gotten both. You got him from behind once. You screwed him, and you pulled one out for him. All
right, we're going to Ferraris for Corey.
Whew. All right, Corey. Big things popping. Let's see what you get.
A swing and a miss.
Oh. For who? Bugs. Just bugs it up.
Dude, what was that?
Yeah, a little sounder in there.
All right. Bugs Bunny from my guy Corey Mercer. Corey, shout out to you, buddy. Shout out to everybody. So we got a Bugs Bunny for.
If you ain't got a pair, you're gonna love them. They're ridiculously comfortable.
Yeah, we just gave. I think we had 2 winners. I was actually kind of worried about that too. Like I don't know if I may have possibly wrote cash checks I couldn't have cashed, but would have figured it out. 2 pairs of Bugs Bunnies. We're probably about out of those now. So Bugs.
Yep. Put those on layaway.
It's all right. Bugs for Corey. If you got questions, put them in here. If you do want to be a part of our merch tiers in the future drawings, basically, charity, you can just go to patreon.com/South Harmon. You enter for $1 and you're kind of in magic land. So appreciate all you guys, though. Appreciate everybody for real being a part of the squad and rocking with us, man. It means the world to us. So appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah, buddy. Hell yeah. Like I said, I got to show off a lot of these this past week in nice weather.
Yeah, it was. How'd that go, by the way? Whoa, what the hell is going on here? Trying to do.
I had a great time.
Yeah, Did you?
Good time with the pops. Had a good time with.
Got to see your grandparents too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. It was all over Central Florida, from one side to the other, essentially. And then that drive on. I made the drive on Saturday to my grandparents' house, and it being 80 degrees and sunny out, and I rented a C8 rapid blue Corvette off of Turo for a decent price. I mean, it was a good chunk of change, but I was like, fuck it. You only live once.
Yeah.
Driving down I-4 with the top down on that sumbitch was like, this is a life, dude. I don't want to go back home ever.
Yeah. It's like
I just want to do this all day.
But it's not a full time, It's not an everyday occurrence. It's kind of what makes it so desirable too, though, right?
Yeah. It was a good time. A lot of good food I ate. For the Granger show, I checked into Disney Port Orleans French Quarter Resort.
Ooh,
where they
put
the French
me Quarter? Jeez.
Yeah. And they had this.
I'm out here literally bleeding Jordans and jerseys. He's like, I was at the French Quarter. Got the top down. Sounds
well. The cool
awesome.
part about that is they had a couple good places there. You're real close by. Like they have them in the resort, so they had
a couple like restaurants.
They had a jazz club, like a little scat jazz club.
Look
there.
at this guy, jazz club. Who is this McNutted?
I went in there one night and I drank a great beer that they had. I ordered Cajun shrimp, which
guy walked in there like Will Ferrell from Anchorman.
They pile up
kind of
like
a big
shrimp.
Deal.
Shrimp like that in a fucking bowl with like this remoulade sauce. That shit was good, and then finish it off with Bailey's.
like a sexy shrimp cocktail type joint.
Yeah, and then you finish it off with a Bailey's Irish cream infused beignet.
Now that sounds tremendous. That sounds French Quarter like, and that sounds like my cup of tea, definitely.
And then I discovered the food court that they had in the resort. You go and they got all these like little spots you can order from, and then you check out at the central location. But one of them had something called a Bayou dog.
Oh yeah,
it might be my new favorite food,
dude.
Andouille sausage, remoulade, pickled onions, pickled peppers on top of that thing. And I tell you what, when you get back from like a Granger event, or we'd go SeaWorld one night, go out to the bar, and I
got
like
dropping everything. Just as
I got like 4 or 5 wines in me, and I get back to the hotel, and it's like 9:30. It's like, yeah, let me go get a Bayou dog.
Oh yeah, dude, the New Orleans style like that, man. That's where I went on my bachelor party. The food down there is fucking, oh my god, just crazy good. I love that.
Big fan of beignets. Big fan.
Yeah, I could get behind that too. Pause, but
yeah, I did a lot of cool stuff down there. Me and Dad went to a old car warehouse. Like this guy's
I was meaning to ask you about that. You were telling me a little bit on the phone.
Yep, had all kinds of cool rides in there. Boss Mustangs, Mach 1s, Chevy Chevelles, 454s, Ford F1s. It was all kinds of cool shit in there. Scooby Doo Volkswagen vans, like
really?
mystery machines in that motherfucker. Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
And then right after that, then we went and we hung out for a few hours at Twin Peaks and drank beer.
Twin Peaks, you don't need to know. You know what Twin Peaks is all about. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Good time.
And you got to, what about with your grandparents?
Grandma made the fucking joke. As soon as I got over there, I told her, I was like, I hadn't eaten shit but like 5 almonds since like 8 a.m. I'm starving.
So
she takes me to this local bar that they like to eat at. Had good food there.
You had 5 almonds and nothing else? That reminds me, actually. 2 weeks ago, I fasted, but go ahead.
So I had some good tacos over there at the bar, and then she was like,
what
let's
kind
go
of
get
tacos?
drinks. Brisket tacos.
That sounds tremendous.
Then she was like, well, let's go get drinks at the Legion. So I went with her and Grandpa down to the American Legion, and I played pool and beat the Pops' ass in pool. It was a good time.
Yeah, he shows no fucking mercy.
Then by this time, it's dinner, and we went to this other place, Floridino's.
Okay.
Italian restaurant. The guy started there locally, and he's been branching out kind of cross country. Best fucking wings I've ever had in my entire life.
Italian joint that's got the top wings out there. What made them so great?
Oh, they were so damn crispy, and the sauce they use is like your traditional buffalo sauce, but it was kind of sweet at the same time.
Okay.
It was like this weird combination that I never.
I was going to ask, did they have like some weird or interesting sauces then?
Yeah. Had some fire shit, some good garlic bread, and bam.
Sign me off.
Back to the house.
We're a long way from that time a while ago when I only had them almonds, man. We're good now. That's sweet.
Back to the house, and I put on Shane Gillis' Beautiful Dogs for Grandpa so he could giggle and laugh his ass off.
Make sure he got his laughs in before his, good night's sleep. Listen,
Yep.
Shane Gillis, if you are one of those that don't laugh at Shane Gillis, I got nothing personal against you. I just don't get it. The guy's gonna make your belly ache at some point.
He does.
He's a fucking trip, man. Dude's a trip.
Nope. It's a good time. Good time.
Awesome, man. I'm glad to hear you had a dope time, man. And it's I don't know, at least for me, having those moments with family, man, always pretty awesome. So getting to have those moments, still absolutely dog walking, grandpa in fucking pool. I love it, man. Dog walking him in pool and helping him get out of the convertible, right? You probably had to pull him out of that thing.
Oh yeah. I took him for a ride.
You took him for did you take him for like a crazy joyride? Nice.
Yeah, Sunday morning we went out for brunch before I drove to check in at the Granger conference and hotel and stuff. So,
dude,
I put Grandpa in the Corvette. Had to pull him out at the end, but we got him out.
So for those that at this point clearly have no idea and you would have no reason to believe it, that was a work event the kid went to. So honestly, Mike, that's a great pitch if you want to see if anyone's interested in applying. I mean, sounded like a freaking legitimate 5-star vacation on a work trip. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was good. It was only supposed to be a couple days, but I took an extra few so I could spend time with family and not feel rushed. And then the Granger conference was awesome. So many damn vendors there. Got a lot of good stuff that I'm gonna talk my company into buying when I get back to work tomorrow morning. That's for sure.
My man. Yeah, you just got back today, so back to the real joint tomorrow. Speaking of which, back to the real world for all of us, except for the 6 of you, whoever it was that took the Jordans from me. I still got to send those out. I'll get the shirts out for you as well. Mike, I think I've got close to a date booked here for us. South Harmon having a golf outing in the summer at some point here as well. I don't want to put, the cart before the horse. I don't think we're going to be doing, it's not a lock, and we're definitely not necessarily going to do the expo again this year. So thinking about doing some things where we potentially get some people together, though, in the summer at some point, even if we don't do that. So if you're interested in, normally come to the expo, or, you're interested in coming to the golf outing, you don't have to be good at golf. You can be just as, it's kind of like Mike and his grandfather. You could be terrible at pool. I'll dog walk you. It's okay. It'll be fun. We'll booze and have a great time. So I'll have the details probably for that. If not next week, the following. You got any other questions? Let us know down in the comments. Make sure you hit the like, hit the subscribe. Aside from that, we will see you back here, same time, same place next week on AMA. We love you guys. We're out of here. Peace.